Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 3, Book 34, number 420. Narrated by Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, the Prophet Abraham emigrated with Sarah and entered a village where there was a king or a tyrant. The king was told that Abraham had entered the village, accompanied by a woman who was one of the most charming women. So, the king sent for Abraham and asked, "O Abraham, who is this lady accompanying you?" Abraham replied, "She is my sister, i.e. in religion." Then Abraham returned to her and said, "Do not contradict my statement, for I have informed them that you are my sister. By Allah, there are no true believers on this land except you and one." Then Abraham sent her to the king. When the king got to her, she got up and performed ablution, prayed and said, "O Allah, if I have believed in you and your apostle, and have saved my private parts from everybody except my husband, then please do not let this pagan overpower me." On that the king fell in a mood of agitation and started moving his legs. Seeing the condition of the king, Sarah said, "O Allah, if he should die, the people will say that I have killed him." The king regained his power, and proceeded towards her, but she got up again and performed ablution, prayed and said, "O Allah, if I have believed in you and your apostle and have kept my private parts safe from all except my husband, then please do not let this pagan overpower me." The king again fell in a mood of agitation and started moving his legs. On seeing that state of the king, Sarah said, "O Allah, if he should die, the people will say that I have killed him." The king got either 2 or 3 attacks, and after recovering from the last attack he said, "By Allah, you have sent a Satan to me. Take her to Abraham and give her a jar." So she came back to Abraham and said, "Allah humiliated the pagan and gave us a slave girl for service." Volume 3, Book 34, number 421. Narrated by Aisha, Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas and Abu bin Zamar quarreled over a boy. Sa'd said, "O Allah's apostle, this boy is the son of my brother, Utbah bin Abi Waqqas, who took a promise from me that I would take him as he was his illegal son. Look at him and see whom he resembles." Abu bin Zamar said, "O Allah's apostle, this is my brother and was born on my father's bed from his slave girl." Allah's apostle cast a look at the boy and found definite resemblance to Utbah and then said, "The boy is for you, O Abu bin Zamar. The child goes to the owner of the bed and the adulterer gets nothing but the stones, despair, i.e. to be stoned to death." Then the Prophet said, "O Sauda bint Zama, screen yourself from this boy." So, Sauda never saw him again. Volume 3, Book 34, number 422. Narrated by Sa'd that his father said, Abdurrahman bin Auf said to Suhaib, "Fear Allah and do not ascribe yourself to somebody other than your father." Suhaib replied, "I would not like to say it even if I were given large amounts of money, but I say I was kidnapped in my childhood." Volume 3, Book 34, number 423. Narrated by Urwa bin Az Zubair, Hakim bin Hizam said, "O Allah's apostle, I used to do good deeds in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, e.g., keeping good relations with my kith and kin, manumitting slaves and giving alms. Shall I receive a reward for all that?" Allah's apostle replied, "You embraced Islam with all the good deeds which you did in the past." Volume 3, Book 34, number 424. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. Once Allah's apostle passed by a dead sheep and said to the people, "Wouldn't you benefit by its skin?" The people replied that it was dead. The Prophet said, "But its eating only is illegal." Volume 3, Book 34, number 425. Narrated by Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, by him in whose hands my soul is, son of Mary, Jesus, will shortly descend amongst you people, Muslims, as a just ruler, and will break the cross and kill the pig and abolish the jizya, a tax taken from the non-Muslims, who are in the protection of the Muslim government. Then there will be abundance of money and nobody will accept charitable gifts. Volume 3, Book 34, number 426. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Once, Umar was informed that a certain man sold alcohol. Umar said, "May Allah curse him. Doesn't he know that Allah's apostle said, 'May Allah curse the Jews, for Allah had forbidden them to eat the fat of animals but they melted it and sold it.'" Volume 3, Book 34, number 427. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "May Allah curse the Jews, because Allah made fat illegal for them but they sold it and ate its price." Volume 3, Book 34, number 428. Narrated by Said bin Abu al-Hasan. While I was with Ibn Abbas, a man came and said, "O father of Abbas, my sustenance is from my manual profession and I make these pictures." Ibn Abbas said, "I will tell you only what I heard from Allah's apostle. I heard him saying, 'Whoever makes a picture will be punished by Allah till he puts life in it, and he will never be able to put life in it.'" Hearing this, that man heaved a sigh and his face turned pale. Ibn Abbas said to him, "What a pity. If you insist on making pictures, I advise you to make pictures of trees and any other unanimated objects." Volume 3, Book 34, number 429. Narrated by Aisha. When the last verses of Surah al-Baqarah were revealed, the Prophet went out of his house to the mosque and said, "The trade of alcohol has become illegal." Volume 3, Book 34, number 430. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Allah says, I will be against 3 persons on the day of resurrection. One who makes a covenant in my name, but he proves treacherous. 2, one who sells a free person, as a slave, and eats the price. 3, and one who employs a laborer and gets the full work done by him, but does not pay him his wages." Volume 3, Book 34, number 431. Narrated by Anas. Amongst the captives was Safiya. First she was given to Dihya al-Kalbi and then to the Prophet. Volume 3, Book 34, number 432. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. That while he was sitting with Allah's apostle he said, "O Allah's apostle, we get female captives as our share of booty, and we are interested in their prices. What is your opinion about coitus interruptus?" The Prophet said, "Do you really do that? It is better for you not to do it. No soul that which Allah has destined to exist, but will surely come into existence." Volume 3, Book 34, number 433. Narrated by Jabir. The Prophet sold a madaba on behalf of his master who was still living and in need of money. Volume 3, Book 34, number 434. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. Allah's apostle sold a madaba. Volume 3, Book 34, number 435. Narrated by Zayd bin Khalid and Abu Hurairah. That Allah's apostle was asked about an unmarried slave girl who committed illegal sexual intercourse. They heard him saying, "Flog her. And if she commits illegal sexual intercourse after that, flog her again, and on the 3rd, or the 4th, offense, sell her."